Alright guys, welcome. It's Pig here, and guess what? We're gonna cast off a goddamn phone recording. But, shout out to HJax who recorded this over the shoulder of Serral when he went up to the AlphaStar booth at BlizzCon this last weekend. This was after Serral was eliminated from the tournament. He actually has done one of the best over-the-shoulder recordings we've ever seen. Now, he missed the first 2 minutes. This is the first map Serral was playing. Serral kind of rocked up, hopped on. People have been memeing saying they were a little annoyed that Serral was playing so many games against it. I mean, it's probably because you're only meant to play one game, right? But Serral was like, mate, I am a many-time champion, the god of this game. I will play 5 games in a row. So shout out to HX for recording this. He has given me permission to cast it off his recording. Thank you very much. He is, of course, playing against the Advanced Protoss AI. So I believe, I'm not sure if this is the one that they used in the ladder competition, but basically it's one of their best, or probably their best AI. And he ends up playing a game against the Terran, I think, and maybe one against the Zerg as well. You can see here, basically, you might be like, hey, Serral's pretty fast, he's playing pretty good. Well, already we see a big mistake from him. Only having 3 lings at the front, only 1 queen. Where's his second queen? His third queen's just popped out now after the Adepts have shaded away. And he is losing a ton of mining time and drones. Perfect micro, well, near perfect from AlphaStar there. Really good starter step, but that's a huge amount of damage. You are not meant to take that much damage. Now keep in mind, this here is Kairos Junction. So this is a map that hasn't been in the map pool for a little while. All the maps are way bigger now. This is a much shorter map. So maybe Serral was a little bit off there. You've also got to take into account Serral is not playing with his own keyboard and mouse, which is a huge thing as a player. The buttons are going to be in a completely different position under your fingers, and that actually doesn't affect you too much if you're a casual player because, I mean, you don't have that much muscle memory in the first place, right? But if you're a pro gamer who's played thousands of games on the same keyboard, and pro gamers almost always, even when that keyboard wears out, replace it with the exact same keyboard and mouse, they practice over and over again to the point where even small changes with where their fingers have to move or how a mouse moves, you know, obviously the sensitivity wouldn't be quite right for him. I doubt they'd let him go into Windows settings, which means there's a good chance that he's got mouse acceleration on because that's on by default in Windows. And there's a bunch of things that are obviously going to throw off his game. So this is obviously not peak Serral. And he's taking crazy damage. Now that wall off has a gigantic hole on the top side of it. This is so typical AlphaStar. It just like, it kind of walls off because it's seen humans do that when it initially learned how to play. And it hasn't realized that, you know, you're meant to not have more than one hole in it. It's like, it's got a hole above the cybercore and it's got another hole where the unit's on hold position. It's like, no, you're only meant to have one of those, buddy. So Serral keeps trying to get Zerglings in. He's trying to surround the Adepts on the map to stop them getting in his mineral line. But that Oracle finding is natural with no spore in it. Huge problem for him. These Adept Shades cancelling really well by AlphaStar, by the way. You can see it didn't commit to that one. It's just kind of hanging around just off creep, and it's looking for angles to come in. But Serral's taken so much damage from those first 2 Adepts. And once again, we've got like just a small handful of lings. There's 4 Adepts. This is a really bad position. Serral's got a bunch of drones following. A drone in his natural, 2 or 3 accidentally on the front mineral patch. Big mistakes from Serral. Scouting with his lings, he sees there's a 3rd. He's got to get on top of those Adepts. I think he's a little bit slow to react. Those Adepts are going to finish. That's 5 Adepts. They don't have glaives. Good surround with the lings, but it's not enough to finish them off. The drones are going to go back to mining. I don't know if he has enough units in position. He's trying to put workers on gas here, but you can tell it's absolute chaos for for Serral, sorry. He's taken so much damage, and yeah, he's going to surround those Adepts and get rid of them. I mean, I can't see his work account. Obviously, we can only see Serral's first-person camera. So we're going to see exactly how this goes. Is this a rerun? You're a rerun, Cotton S'more. You can always tell if I'm doing a rerun because it's only when I'm at an event. And I will only do a few of them if I'm away for a couple of weeks at a time. And it'll always say rerun in giant writing in the title of the stream, as well as rebroadcast when you hover over the screen. I very rarely rebroadcast. It warps in to block him, and it's like, well, I can just run past. Problem for Serral is he's so far behind economically. He needs to actually trade these like efficiently. How many probes? Because you can't really tilt the AI. Like 3 probes there, it's okay. It's not amazing. And occupying its APM, it has a much less tangible benefit than doing the same thing against a human. A human messes up their macro a lot more because they get distracted. I imagine with its limitations, obviously you might lower its macro a little bit, but you can't distract it. All you can do is pull its immediate attention away, but it will not get lost with it. Its order of priorities won't get shuffled. Like, it'll be very organized with that. So I'm sure there are some situations where you can scramble it, but it's not the same as, you know, you got Zerglings in a human's base. Even if you don't trade them too efficiently, if you just force them to pull their units and react, you know you've like achieved quite a bit. Great pull there. Queen does stop the Oracles. He's going to try and do a Roach Ravager pressure on this third, but I feel like the situation he's in, he actually needs to be really careful. He doesn't have Roach speed yet. It's actually quite a tight choke point. He might get force fielded on this base. You're going to be really careful. Reynold's economy is so bad, and his fourth is just gone down at 730. Such a late third base. He needs to take a fourth base. He needs to take a fifth hatchery and or a macro hatch right now, if you ask me. He also needs a bit better map vision. That was 4 adepts that were shading in. He spotted them as he sent, I think he sent his links to deal with it. And these force fields I was talking about, preemptive biles, though, do break one of the force fields immediately. But great adept counterattack, more mining time. And look at that. They actually created the little wall there with his Spore Crawler. He wasn't able to get in on it. Serral wants to do more damage. He sees the robotic support bay, which means Disruptors and or Colossus. First Disruptors here, and he's got to just... he might try to go for it, but I think with the Prism, there's no way. There's units warping in there. He's trying to respond to the backstab at the same time. AlphaStar very good at backstabbing. The Oracles come in and start focusing the Ravagers. He is getting the sentries. Oh, if he can get rid of this base, this is if he breaks the base, he wins the game. But good Immortal pickups. 2 Immortals behind the base there. Serral, remember his economy is shit. Those Adepts are still pulling his attention away. And those Oracles had so much energy saved up. They actually just killed all of his Ravagers. Serral's just lost all of his important gas units. He's playing a low gas style. He hasn't taken his 6th gas. So he's playing 5 gas Zerg. He's going to saturate his 4th mineral line. And then his 5th, I don't know if he'll ever take a 6th gas geyser here. He's basically saying, I need lots of Lings, lots of Banes. I just need lots of mineral units. We don't need that much gas. As long as we got some Ravagers, some Banes, we're good. But he's up against a 3-base Protoss, and he's only like not even a full 3-base Zerg. He's trying to drone up his 4th now and transfer workers there, but even though his 4th is fully saturated, it's saturated late, and it only just got there. Does get good damage with the Ling run by, but oh, he transfers drones before the spores finish. Rookie mistake from Serral. Oh no, he just lost like 12 drones on that 4th. I was just talking about how his economy is kind of bad, and most of the drones on that 4th were actually drones that came from his main, because his main's mined out of minerals, half the patches have. So that's terrible. Great management of these Lings to still be in here. He's getting more and more probe kills, which is awesome. But, I mean, it's like he needs every little bit of this damage, right? If he wasn't taking damage on the other side, and he was doing this much with his Lings, I mean, he'd be way ahead. I really do think that hole in the wall is a ridiculous mistake from his opponent. But, okay, he's going to try and jump on this. Oh, the Banelings aren't finished, so spread. Oh, good Disruptor micro. Hits like 4 Roaches there. That one only gets 1 Ravager, but, I mean, Speed Banes are finished. You need Zerglings against this army, though. He needs to have a lot more Zerglings mixed in with this and just raw units. This is an awesome push. Serral just needs another minute to work up his economy. He's got such a small army right now. It's just a handful of Roaches, Ravagers, Banelings. Without the Zerglings in there. Oh, big Disruptor shot. Gets a lot of Banelings. These Zealots tanking really well. Such a funky composition. It's like an Archon Immortal charge lot. But AlphaStar's still using the Oracles to maximum effect and preserving them, which is insane. I always talk about preserving your Oracles as this incredible skill that only the best Protoss can do. But I feel like AlphaStar's doing that like as well or better than the best. But I mean, it's partially just because Serral's behind it has no queens out there, I guess. Serral trying to buy a little bit of time here, and is going to pick off a few probes, which is nice. But he's lost his creep spread out from that 3rd. I think, there we go. Lings do find a 4th base. Okay, he's going to get more there. He's doing great counterattack damage. I'm just very worried for this next engagement. He's going to need to engineer a very big surround. And the charge zealots are making it a little bit awkward for that. Look at that. Oh, no, Serral. He should have pulled back from there. Oh, that was a terrible engagement by Serral. I think he maybe still had a chance. But, yeah, okay, so he's going to GG the computer there. Rickety wrecked. Oh my god, there's like a whole audience. There's heaps of people sitting around watching, of course. That's cool. There's a whole audience in there. Alright, so we're gonna go jump straight into game number 2. Big shout out to HJax for this is a pretty solid phone recording. So this is actually the display monitor. Right, so that's not his first person monitor. They have a display when they're showing some of the games, and obviously it's Serral's games they're showing everyone. Awesome. Yeah, that was TLO next to Serral. So TLO's been working with Deepmind, giving them the oops, there's people talking. Let's turn that sound off. So basically, TLO's been working with Deepmind on this project so that they could tone down the thing to give it human-like restrictions, so that it wasn't just a microbot that just murders everyone. Serral did say, by the way, after this that so he was down at the booth the whole weekend talking to people and explaining how it works, and TLO said he had a really good time. So awesome to see TLO getting hired by Deepmind and contracted to kind of be their StarCraft expert. He's like a guy who should be designing games. Like, if you guys got TLO to design an RTS, like, I think it would just almost automatically be an amazing game. People are like, oh, we got a pro gamer to help design our game. And I'm always like, I don't give a fuck. Most pro gamers don't know shit, man. Like, they're great competitors. I've got respect for their skill. I don't have much respect at all for their ability to design games. TLO, on the other hand, I'm like, oh shit, it would be awesome if he did. So I think he was a really good choice here. So heads up, reminder once again, guys, Serral is handicapped in this series pretty badly by, basically just sitting down on the computer with a different setup, different settings completely. It does make a big difference. I think he's still playing really good, but he's got to lock down the harassment. If there's anything like game one, it's like just shut down the adepts. It was a 2-gate opening in game one. Be ready for the 2-gate adept in game two. After the match, Serral did say he felt like it was a 6.3k MMR player. It's not bad. It's not that great either. He feels he would very rarely drop maps to it if he was playing on his own setup. Yeah. Players are excellent at recognizing problems, aren't as well equipped to solve them, says Davey Gunn Face AV. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously at a booth, they're not going to allow you to come plug in your own equipment. Like, this is they're letting random people from the public. They're going to have, these computers are going to be completely locked up and stuff. Otherwise, your booths can get screwed with. All right. So he's going to try and get his Ling Scout in. It wasn't a 2-gate opening this time. I don't think it was the previous game either, actually. Now that I think about it. But he's seeing a chrono boosted unit. He's got to assume it's a double adept. There we go. Double adept. Get those extra Zerglings out, buddy. Yeah, he's building Zerglings now. He's already hotkeyed them. Okay, so he's going to go up to like 12, 14 Zerglings this time. He's going to play it very safe. This is exactly what you do if your opponent chronos 2 adepts across the map. You can also often do a Ling Flood and just counter them. Apparently, Serral said he didn't want to abuse the AI and just cheese it, because apparently like there are certain cheeses it just doesn't know how to respond to and stuff. But he was like, no, I'll play it straight up so we can test it in a more quote unquote standard setup. Yeah, apparently Florencio like dicked this AI. I don't know if it was the Protoss one or the Terran or the Zerg, but he dicked it with like just cheesing it and Proxy Nexus and stuff. And he was spamming easy in the chat. I wish I had a recording of that. Unfortunately, no one recorded it. I'm really sad about it. So he sees, okay, it's just Adepts and Oracles for now. That's a really solid wall off this time. So this time, it's actually done its wall off correctly. That's a great wall off there. That's one of the wall offs you don't really want to hit with a Speedling all in. Though, since it threw away its first 2 Adepts, you probably could still break it, right? Oh, it has 2 Adepts there. Did it throw 2 Adepts away? I wasn't paying attention. I'm talking too much shit. It's been a long stream. Spores are going down now. 2 Queens at the natural. They are on top of it. Ooh. It's going to kill that Spore. Nicely done. He's going to cancel, rebuild. His Queens should be down there. Oh, he's going to have to cancel again. But keeps it alive. Yeah, much better opening from Serral. So let's see what it does this time. He's supply blocked. Oh, I said much better opening, and he's like massively supply blocked. Oh, I think he only started Overlords after hitting the supply block. Yeah, he's going to hit like 500 minerals, I think. Oh, not too bad. About 350. Could have been worse. This is that point where he needs to explode, though. Yeah, it plays a lot like Neeb. Neeb plays this sort of PvZ. It's especially powerful on short maps, guys. Serral, you better be building more. I think he's only got drones in production. Oh, okay, no. He had 8 more already building. He's up to 17 Lings. That's better. I was like, dude, are you sitting on just 6 Lings against 4 Adept shading? That's scary, dude. All right, Queen in the main. Has to pull back. Adepts do dive. I mean, man, it's so good at syncing up its pressure here. Oh my god, its focus fire is incredible. That was sick. I don't know if it focus fired drones, but sick focus fire with those oracles in the main. Oh my god. Because it does both at the exact in such quick succession. Holy shit, that was really well done by AlphaStar. Oh, he gets in, but there was a sentry and an oracle, so he just says, no, okay, let's just pull back for now. I don't want to lose all these units. Okay, so he's going to go for the probes. That's a shield battery in the middle line. It's not up yet, though. Oracles come in. Man, these oracles always have energy. It keeps building oracles in a depth. So it's basically going ultimate mobile harassment units that are also amazing at defending these Ling backstabs that he's doing. And it's really just trying to keep Serral under the gun. So whenever you play against this sort of style, you just need to really slap down one of the waves of pressure. And we could see, so basically if you think about it, what Serral really needed was to move an extra queen or two up into the main against those oracles. That would have been super massive. I did not get a chance to play AlphaStar, guys. I'm an idiot who after day one just got super drunk and was out till 7 a.m. that night. I didn't get that drunk, but I was out really, really late drinking. And then I had already slept like shit the day of our BlizzCon cast. Like that night I'd slept like 4.5 hours or something. So I ended up sleeping from like 7 a.m. for the whole day. Oh no, he's got no more queens up there. Oh god, go. Serral's in trouble. He's in trubs. Okay, that was not as bad as it could have been. I mean, the oracles are dying. This is costing things, but I feel like because AlphaStar's economy has been more or less uninterrupted, I reckon it's done an amazing job of chrono boosting probes. And this is a point where I feel like a human player at this point would have actually panicked. Oh, it's even going to recall that oracle. Oh, it dies. Good job, Serral. Gets it. I feel like a human player would have gone for more safety at this point. Like, yeah, got one shield better in the third, but more human players, because they're, I guess, maybe not as able to calmly, confidently read, they'd be more worried about a big roach attack, Ling Bane attack, all this sort of stuff. It seems to just be confidently chronoing probes non-stop, while also hanging, just hitting the harassment. And I think it's delaying its immortals, it's delaying its forges and twilight. But it doesn't seem to matter as long as it can do that without sacrificing too much macros, because it feels like its multitasking is still pristine, especially with its ability to manage different goals. I feel like humans, once they start harassing, their macro slows down a lot more than it. I'd have to watch the actual replays, which unfortunately replays don't work with the AlphaStar system, so we cannot get our hands on the replays. But I feel like if I could look at the replays, I would see that. And yeah, it's built like, it's funny, it builds like a group of stalkers, and then it swaps into charge after that. So it seems to have decided, hey, this is the composition I play every game. It's Immortal, Archon, a few Stalkers, add Disruptors, add Charge Lots. And I think it builds Phoenix. I don't know if this is the game. I know in one of the games it just starts randomly building Phoenix at some point. It's like, hey, whereas a human player who's got Oracles and Phoenix in an army with Disruptors and Charge Zealots, like humans like, well, that's just too hard to micro. Like, you can technically do it, but it is so hard to do right because you've got so many competing goals. AlphaStar has this ability to be like, no, like I can handle that weird unit composition and I can group it all up and take a fight without friendly firing my own units and losing all my Phoenix and not using them properly. So its ability to manage spellcasters, especially like Protoss army compositions where there's so many fancy units. Oi, get off camera. Get out of here, dickhead. Is amazing, right? So I think, and I've heard that its Protoss is the strongest because Protoss is very micro intensive, lots of spellcasters, lots of cool stuff going on that it does and it achieves. So I'm really fascinated. Oh, he almost blew up his Banelings on the rocks. Serral, careful. Very big Roach Ravager Baneling army. Guys, remember, these units are not great. Like, I kind of like the Archon Disruptor comp, right? Because Disruptors just wreck Ravager Roach Bane. They're only not good against Zerglings. Guess what? Archons are good against Zerglings and Banelings as well. So Archon Disruptor is like, it's like this amazing composition against this. However, if the Zerg gets enough units and comes in from 3 sides, and really 3 sides makes a much bigger difference than 2, the Zerg will take a giant shit on the Protoss's face. But I think Serral here, you know, no, not from one side. You got to come from 3. He's got to be more careful with this. I really feel like Serral's got to be splitting his army in half and getting to the other side. I think he needs a sandwich against this army because it's not panicking and mismanaging its army the way most players would with such a complicated composition. It's actually like, yeah, he's got to split this army up. He's too clumped. I mean, you might still do it, but oh man, like if just 1 or 2 good disruptor shots could ruin his day. He's gonna come in with about not even just under a 90-degree angle. Whoa, a huge disruptor shot on the left. Just got 3 Ravagers and like 8 Roaches, and a great recall. It saves some of its army. But it's got 4 bases up. Serral's on 5, but he has not started that Broodlord tech, which is normally what you're going for. Roach, Ravager, Ling Bane. This is not a long-term comp. It is a, I mean, if you're at this stage and you're fighting like basically 4 base versus 4 base, you need to be killing probes a lot. Yeah, Phoenix come out. Now, this is so funny. It's like, I got Phoenix. I am both ready for a Mutaswap, and I can pick up random units. And you're like, what the fudge? How do you control that? It's like, you're a robot. Its ability to not get confused by a lot of special units is awesome. That's like one of the cool things that it has over humans. It's not necessarily it being faster physically. It's it being able to not get as distracted by the calculation, right? The calculation that goes on when you use a disruptor or a spellcaster unit. There's something that goes on there where as a human oh my god, okay, I was talking about how guys with this comp, he needs to kill a lot of economy. Well, he's doing it. He's in charge now. He's almost maxed. He's making an insane number of banelings. So once again, you need to come from 2 or 3 sides, Serral. I really think he needs to have his army split into 2 control groups. This is something I was criticizing Raynor for, that Serral normally does much better than him. Oh god, the disruptor shots. He's not watching. He's not watching his army. He's not watching his army. I mean, this is good damage, but it's not enough. Oh, huge. Yeah, that's terrible. Serral was I don't know if he couldn't hear the game sounds, or he's pissed off because he lost BlizzCon the day before. But that was the most unsterile engagement of all time. He had a gigantic army and he just lost it all to disruptor shots. Oh my god, he's so dead. Yeah, you can't fight that. You got nothing to kill the Archons. Wrecked. Serral had this game in the bag. H-Jax, how are you doing, man? Serral had this game in the bag, guys. Even though there was a big Archon count and he obviously does need Broodlords, his army was sitting in a ball on the edge of creep. The Phoenix came forward and picked up some units and started killing them. And he just didn't notice. He was just clicking those banelings on the mineral line. And this is game 3. We missed 2 minutes of it as well. That's all right. Yeah, that was like a real meme. You guys see me do that on my stream all the time where I'm so happy I'm killing like a whole mineral line. I'm like, I'm just clicking on it like. And then I look back and my whole army's dead. And I'm like, well, I'm a friggin' idiot. Apparently the mouse settings were really terrible as well, says Florencio. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, they always are if you're setting up on someone else's. Oh, he's just going to lose to 2 Adepts again? You're kidding me. I say this, you're like, come on, Pig. He didn't lose to 2 Adepts. No. I guarantee you. Someone was telling me, I don't know if it was risky or someone was like, oh yeah, I asked Serral. He said he lost to the first 2 Adepts in the first game. And then I think maybe he was talking about this game as well. Damn. Juke Nukem says, yeah, the mouse settings were really bad. That's why I lost so easily. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like, it's a booth. You can't make things perfect. You don't want to allow people to get into the Windows settings because they might screw with something. It's just a bit of a shame. I wish they did find a way to allow that without compromising the setup, just because it's very important. That was you, Jeremy. He said it in Lambo's chat. Thank you, Jeremy. Much love. H-Jax, I appreciate the recording, by the way. This is about the best phone recording I've ever seen. I can see this person's head on the right. Get out of here. Oi. People, get out of the way. Yeah, they keep trying to get in the camera, but you do a good job. Thank you so much for allowing me to cast the recording, H-Jax. I really appreciate it, man. He says, played like a 6.3k player. I died to the first 2 Adepts both games. My Serral voice is so bad. It's like I sound like someone who's just... it's like a pedophile who's just sucked in a helium balloon. That's like my Serral voice. People are like, that's not what Serral sounds like. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not very good at impressions. My Russian accent sounds Indian. My Indian accent sounds like it's from fucking Bolivia. It's all over the shop. What can I say? One day I'll figure it out. I need like a chart where I'm like, if I want to do that one, I need to try to do this other one and it'll come out as that one. And then I'll figure it out one day. Hey, Prince F's there. They at least could have turned off mouse acceleration. Oh, yeah. Of course there was mouse acceleration. So, once again, I mean, this is the big kind of thing that we're a little bit annoyed at, is the fact that, okay, so let me talk a bit about AlphaStar. People have been asking me about it. And basically what you'll find, right, and the reason I'm always a little bit kind of like, I'm always, people like, oh my god, AlphaStar is so good, it beat a pro gamer and stuff. We haven't actually seen it beat a pro gamer in like a fair contest at all. With this AI, which is the fairest iteration, TLO really helped them work on this one. Oh god, Serral's so dead. He's trying this Ravager Queen, and his economy is just getting ravaged. Oh my god. He's like, I'm doing a Ravager all in, and it's like, well, I'm gonna be the one doing the ravaging, mate. But yeah, basically what we saw is obviously it beat Mana in TLO when it could play. Well, it beat TLO's off race. And it beat Mana when it was playing like 10 times faster than him in the engagements, and it could just out micro him. It's now beaten Serral, where Serral is on a completely unideal setup, you know, where it's handicapped Serral. That's what we're all sad about, because we all were hoping for the Go world champion up against the AI, you know, same thing they did in Go, same thing they did in chess. The thing is, StarCraft's actually too complicated, and they've decided that they don't want to put in the however many extra years and money it would take to get there, because they're not sure it would ever get there. Because basically what we've seen with all these agents is it doesn't really react too much to what it sees outside of like very broad things. Like here you can see it's massing cannons on its third once it sees the push come. But you can tell it doesn't scout for like the tech or the drone counts or anything. Because there's a lot of games, especially when it's playing Zerg and Terran. Zerg and Terran is appallingly silly. Because it just doesn't scout with them, and it goes for a really one-dimensional composition. So basically, you're going to see here, it's going to go for the same thing every game, right? Oracle Adept, where it could just be abused. If you, like, blind counter it in one way or another, you find a certain all-in that's good against that. Each agent just plays the same way over and over, right? So that's already one limitation, is the fact that it always picks one style. The other thing is it always sticks with the same composition, and there are usually weaknesses to these compositions, right? There are things, but it'll never change. It won't go, oh, you're going the counter, I'll swap my composition up. It'll change, maybe say, oh, I'll commit to a bit more units and cut my workers here because I know there's an attack coming that I see moving across the map. But there's also moments where like it'll be massing roaches, because it always masses roaches with the Zerg agent that they unleashed on the ladder. It always does a big roach timing attack, often with Ravager Queen, but sometimes just pure roach. And there'll be games where it just has no map vision. The opponent just rushes mutas, makes no attempt to scout. It could easily make an overseer, it just doesn't. And mutas come and kill it. So essentially, people are saying, okay, that failed. Serral got held there in that game. GG. 0-3 against its Protoss. Oh my god. Game 4. And I think he plays... Yeah, this is ZVT. So this is against its Terran. People are saying it's not smart. It's a macro-micro bot. It's not thinking. Blah, blah, blah. What we were hoping, though, is that somewhere down... Or what I was hoping personally was that down its billions of permutations of understanding all the possible moves, that it would figure out having Zergling spotters on the map would be a good idea, because it increases its win percentage. It might not be able to think like us and say, because that's scouting, and scouting is a concept, and if we see things we can prepare. But I was hoping simply through billions of repetitions it would realize, hey, having some scouts on the map is good. It might realize, hey, I should probably stop massing roaches versus mutas. But it doesn't engage with that thinking, and that's part of the StarCraft strategy. And that's what I think disappointed a lot of us, because we were like, oh shit, we had this dream of like, it's figured out how to react to people's strategies, it's figured out how to scout a little bit, but it doesn't really adapt to its opponent very much. And I'm obviously reacting in between, in a whole series between games, I don't care about that. I'm just talking about within the game. I want it to scout. There's too many games where I look at it and it's just blind, and it's just basically said, hey, it's found generic ways to play that are good, right? And that's inevitably what it seems like machine learning systems are going to inevitably tend towards. And it never really made it past that barrier of, this is a game of incomplete information. Like, you need to actually look for more information, number one, and number two, there are so many units in this game, so many different ways you can play. You need to actually be able to play multiple styles to play the best, right? Serral can play so many compositions, so many styles. Apparently, even he can't play Ultralisks. Sorry, Serral, I love you. I love Serral, but he admitted it. He said he doesn't play Ultras normally, and he had no idea what he was doing with it. That's why he played so bad. He didn't realize Vipers were the unit that helps it become a good composition. But yeah, basically this is the problem for AlphaStar, is it couldn't figure that out. It was like, well, no, like, these are the pieces that I win the game with. I like the roaches. I like with Terran, what we saw with its ladder one was Marine tank, right? And then what we saw here was like, okay, cool, but like he's going Broodlords, and it's like, well, I'm gonna keep making siege tanks, and you're like, oh, okay, like okay. It's going mutas. I'm going to keep making roaches. And I'm going to get confused and run my roaches back and forwards underneath the mutas and stuff. Like, we saw it just, it basically was like, well, I can't engage with that. I don't adapt my styles. That's a big problem. I did a big analysis, guys. yesterday. If you didn't see it, it's up. It should be up on YouTube very soon if it's not up already. But it's in yesterday's Twitch VOD. I went over exactly what Raynor and Serral fucked up. Their biggest mistakes. Raynor's biggest mistakes versus Dark. Serral's biggest mistakes versus Raynor in that last game. And it was a lot about, is it already up? I hope so. If it is, that's great. Could you link it for me? If it is, Azimuth or anyone else? Helix is so good. I can't believe he's already done it. I only talked about it like yesterday or the day before. But basically, it's, yeah, I go through there and how, you know, essentially Raynor just didn't defend Mutalisks properly. He tried like a few different reactions and each one was missing a few key pieces where his unit positioning and splitting was a bit off and he didn't use Banelings to shore up his defenses quite the way he should have. So if you guys want to see that, go check it out. It's on the channel. It was some clickbait title like, why did Serral lose to Ultras, lol? Oh, why did Serral make Ultras, lol? What did Raynor fuck up to get ravaged so hard by Dark? Big admiration for Dark, by the way, guys. He's so good, man. He's so good. As someone who really does love seeing the fact that, like, you know, the European trying to play a more perfect strategic game style has worked. Because of that, I loved seeing Serral finally. Basically, Europeans for so long were adamant their style was better. They just weren't executing well enough. And Serral kind of finally showed that. And Dark went back to Korean style. He played some crazy weird shit. There's solid macro behind it, but there was some crazy weird shit that I don't think would have worked against Serral. That being said, I don't know if Dark would have used the same crazy shit against Serral. I think he might have done it because he was playing Raynor. Anyways, let's talk more about this game. Terrans on 2 base. We've seen Marines. We've seen tanks. No bunker or anything, but I guess you got tanks. You're probably okay. No wall off on the low ground, which is just stupid. At this point, there should be a wall off on that natural. If AlphaStar hasn't figured out how to wall off its natural, that's going to be a problem in TVZ. Okay, it's walling off now. It's just a later wall off. All right, I'm fine with that. As long as it does wall off eventually. You're not using walls against Zerg's Terran. You're going to have a bad time. We don't have a big economy for Serral just yet. Yeah, that third's already floating down. I think because Serral was short on scouting, he was afraid of an all-in. Yeah, he's got 5-minute 20 evos, and his third's not even fully saturated. I want to see that third. 14. Oh, it's 15 drones at 5. It's okay. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's got a well-timed lair, so he can double-check the scouting. He's got roach speed on the way to help keep him safe. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. It's not as amazing as you'd expect Serral to be against such a low-pressure opening, because we haven't really seen Banshees, Libs, Hellions, or anything like that. It's like a very defensive AlphaStar that's just kind of camping in its side of the map for now. He's going to get a well-timed 4th, pre-6 minutes, and he sees the push coming. Okay, that's a lot of Marines, so he's going to have to build roaches now. Because he's not at Bane speed yet. So roaches are the best kind of stopgap unit. Just here for the early mid-game, late early game, whatever you want to call this kind of 6-7 minute stage. And Roach Ravager is just like the best defensive comp. He's also got a lot of queens. You're going to notice Serral has 3 injecting queens and 2 defense queens right now. So that he can split those queens up easily. 2 at the front spreading creep. The other 3 are injecting. But if he gets in trouble, he'll very quickly throw the 3 creep injecting queens into his defense key, bring them to the front to defend. Or he'll send them all together, say to the main to defend a battle cruiser, something like that. Oi, down up front. Sit still, mate. What are you doing? Get out. No. Can you move, mate? Hajax is trying to record. Hey, Hajax is just being a fucking legend. Get down up front, mate. Come on. All right, so it's going to start. Is that just only Marines? Oh, that's just silly. That's such a dumb pressure. All right, so Serral's going to lose 1 roach for like 20 Marines here. And he's like, oh, okay. The AI is drunk. That's the dumbest pressure I've ever seen. Oh my god. He just lost 1 roach for 20 Marines, guys. That's funny that it hasn't figured out Hellions. You'd think it would just play like Hellion Banshee, right? Right? Damn. Unlimited AI watching that is stupid, says Nate. I think it's okay if it's playing against itself, right? But yeah, playing against humans is not fun. Yeah, that's like watching a Boston Dynamics robot, you know, beat the shit out of Conor McGregor. He like punches it and breaks his hand, and you're like, this is not impressive. This is so dumb. You've literally got something made out of metal fighting a human. Like, it's like, oh, but look at how strategic it is without fight. It's like, no, that's not why it's winning. Come on, man. Yeah. So Yeah, I thought it would use more of these mobile micro-focused units. Like the way it used Adepts and Oracles, it was able to pressure nonstop, apply pressure, and just macro greedily off the back of it. So what we found, and this looks exactly like the agent that they put on the ladder, by the way, guys, because it's doing the same thing. It's going to start posturing around with double drops on the map. It's just Marines and Medevacs looking to clear creep. It's going to try and drop. It might start sending Liberator harassment in as well, but all it's going to do is just keep expanding very steadily and just mass Marine tank. So it did this on the ladder. We cast a few of these games a few months back. And basically it's just going to keep expanding and waiting for the opponent to attack into it. What we saw when it was playing on ladder is we kept seeing Zerg players just be like, let's attack. And they'd just attack into like 10 tanks and 50 Marines. So it's just like dirt. It also struggles with its Marine micro very hard. People are saying in chat, it really screwed up, yeah. So yeah, its biggest power and how it won games is also just hitting 3 locations at once. It would often come in and just drop here, drop there, and siege up a little, but it takes a very long time to actually start doing that. And you see here, yeah, those drops are trying to be annoying, but Serral's got his army split up. He's at Hive Tech, and once you make Broodlords, tanks are just bad. Now, it's going to actually try and do a frontal push down here. Oh my god, it's actually moving its tanks across the map. I don't know if it knows how to use this army, so it's stimming forward in a gigantic ball. Oh my god, if the Banelings hit the Marines, it's dead. It did get hit by some of them. The tanks were very clumsy. They took some big biles. Serral actually forced to disengage, and then another wave of Banelings. It's so deep on creep with mass Marine. That's so crazy, man. But this is the multi-drop I'm talking about. Even when it lost a push, because it's got a 4th up behind this, we watched it kill a lot of low GM players because they'd lose the whole mineral line in the main. And look at that. And then it picks up and drops. This is where it gets the damage on it. Its pushes are usually uninspiring, but it'll keep dropping and keep expanding behind it. And if you attack into Marine tank, it's one of the best defensive compositions, especially if they use the high ground and stuff. That's it. But I mean, just make Broodlords. Serral will never lose a front-on fight as long as he keeps splitting his army. And you need your queens and your spores in good positions. You see, even Serral here is taking quite a bit of damage. For anyone just tuning in, just a reminder, this is obviously Serral playing on an inferior setup. Doesn't have his mouse settings right. He's playing just on a very ghetto setup. It's not going to be as quick. I'm sure we would see Serral shutting this down a bit better. He is doing his best. And he's doing a good enough job. But he is taking way more drone losses than he normally would. I believe he's replacing them immediately. Is going to deny the 5th base going up. Looks like another frontal push. He's got Vipers. Doesn't have Broodlords yet. I mean, he didn't want to abuse it. He did say that. So he did play against it kind of like he would play against a normal human. And yeah, not getting Broodlords yet. It's a little bit of a problem potentially, but I feel like it's probably fine. He's got such a big Roach Ravager Baneling army. So many roaches in there. Tanks are so good against roaches. This army just clumps up a lot. So he's got that backstab that's going to hit on the left-hand side. That could do huge game-ending damage potentially. Man, it's hitting him so much that his mini-map's just hard to even look at. Okay, he's going to attack up there. Will save the hatchery. He's forced to take a little bit of a preemptive engage. Those roaches going to deal with that on the south side. Viper's trying to deal with that. Okay, he just A-moves the Ling Bane in. He's like, look, I don't have time to micro this, but let's try and do some damage. Takes a few tank shots from the high ground and says, nope, I'm going to get the shit out of there. He's still maxed out, guys. He's been replacing the drones as he loses them. So as much as he keeps having to pull drones and you think, oh, this is hard, this is really shit. Oh, God, look at this. Look how constant it is. Its backstabs are so good. Constant drops and backstabs, but he's just split his army out. And that's all you need to do against it. Split your army up, get to high tech. Its frontal pushes are pretty uninspiring. It doesn't clear creep as much as it should, so it ended up with that main push, remember, so deep on creep. And when you're that deep on creep with Marine tank, you're just in trouble. He just told a drone, by the way, to attack his own creep tumor. It's very slowly going to kill a creep tumor in the middle, and then he's going to, because it's blocking an expansion, it's going to take 20 hits from the drone to kill that. 10 hits, sorry, not 20. I'm good at maths. Yeah, look at this. It just keeps dropping Marines, man. You need to pick up, dude. Yeah, it doesn't have the best pickup micro. It's not terrible. Printf said, oh, it can't micro. It's not appallingly bad, but in direct engagements, it does seem to just ball up and stutter step. Ooh. Oh, there's a doggo there. Don't kill the doggo, Serral. Okay, he's like, nah, I'll just kill this base. There's too many tanks though. So yeah, quick pullback after he blows up the planetary. I mean, he's not making broods. It just keeps dropping on that south side. I would be so triggered at this point. It's just so non-stop. Oh my god. Okay, drop on the north side. Yeah, it picks up. He does have quite a few spores now. And he's just dropping parasitic bombs on this, but This is so triggering, right? His queen's moved over there, so it had to pull back from the main. It's going to drop behind the natural. It's like drop. It's a Wings of Liberty generic Korean B teamer, guys. You guys remember all the Korean Terrans and Wings of Liberty? All they did was just multi-drop Marines and hope they could out-multitask their opponent. They were really hard to beat. They were really hard to beat, man. That was pre-medevac boost. Everyone was just bad at the game back then. You'd be like, holy shit, this guy just won't stop dropping. Oh, does he not have broods yet? Oh my god, he still doesn't have brood. What are you doing, Serral? Make some goddamn brood lords. Don't lose to this. Okay, oh my god, the SCVs clump up for the Banelings trying to repair the planetary. Oh, he didn't get it? What? Okay, he's gonna get it now. Ugh, took him a while though. Oh my god, he's losing a lot of units. He's got so much money, it doesn't... Look at the tank count. Can you even engage this? Okay, the blinding clouds are good. The blinding clouds are good. Oh my god, amazing blinding clouds. And ultra... Okay, a few ultras are going to join in. Banelings get every marine on the left-hand side. AlphaStar did not hot pick up. Oh god. And because it's being kept off a 5th base, it's going to actually be running out of resources, whereas Serral's kept his macro up, even in the midst of all the harassment. Yeah, he really did not want to abuse it. Broodlords would destroy this. Oh my god. Oh my god. So for anyone just tuning in, we are looking at AlphaStar up against Serral, playing at the BlizzCon convention booth. Serral with a different setup. AlphaStar, this is the advanced AI. You could choose to play against easier versions of it if you didn't want to play against the super high level one. And it was open to anyone at BlizzCon to come up and play if you lined up for it, which was really cool. I didn't get a chance to play, which I'm really sad about. Oh, those medevacs are all going to die to that spore. Oh my god, that's... Yeah, every single one. Every single... One of them survived on 1 hit point. I think he even sent a queen up to finish it. He's got a lot of ultras. His blinding clouds have been great. He's kept AlphaStar off of 5th base. I think Serral's about to seal the deal, guys. So he lost 0-3 to its Protoss. It looks like he's about to be 1-0 against its Terran. I think he plays a ZVZ in the last game. I know he played 5 games. We'll see how it goes. And it looks like he's just going to crash on in Ultras and Banelings and all the rest. Get some of that convention noise? Why not? We'll see if there's a cheer when he wins. They'll be like, yeah, kill the robot. Fuck the Terminator. Apparently the last game is ZVZ. We got chat confirming that. Thank you so much, HX. Nice. The recording's gone a little bit lopsided at this point. HJax's hands getting tired after recording for a solid 45 minutes. He's like, man, it's hard to hold my phone up for that long. But, okay, another tank push. Still no Broodlords. He needs the Blinding Clouds. 1 big glass crushing engagement, and it will be out of money, I do believe. Or at least very low. Its income's going to be dropping. HJax says in chat, dude, my arms hurt so bad after recording this. Yeah, Parasitic Bomb's actually very nice for just wearing down those medevacs. Oh, look at that. Those tanks are so clumped. I think he can't, yeah, he can't resist. He's going to just jump on this. There is no way he can resist. You see the tanks that clumped? You just go. You don't even know what's behind it. You don't care. You're like, no. Blinding Cloud on 5 tanks? Yes, I will. Thank you very much. Lots of tanks up on the high ground. Those Marines there, they keep taking Baneling hits. It keeps trying to stutter step. Yeah, it just moved into the Banelings. Oof. Yeah, its Marine micro needs work. I mean, it's doing good, like, multi-prong. But in the fights, it just clumps up. It doesn't know how to spread its Marines. Because it keeps trying to stutter step in a ball, it has a problem when the fights get past a certain size, or if it gets flanked, it just gets ruined. If it's a one-directional engagement, or the fight's below a certain size, it's okay, because it can gun down the Banelings before they get in range. But when you get above a certain size, you need to pre-split. And there we hear the cheers. Everyone's like, yay! Yay, Serral beat it. AlphaStar. Let's say AlphaStar I1 GG. Lol. All right, guys. Last game is going to be versus the Zerg ZVZVZ. This is one of AlphaStar's advanced many agents. Blah 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 blah. Awesome. So for those who are wondering, yes, AlphaStar is a project from Deepmind, the same guys that got a machine learning, a self-taught AI. An AI that plays the game billions and billions of times, or hundreds of thousands of times against itself. It starts by watching how humans play, digesting all those games to understand what the moves are, try to understand the win condition, and practices hundreds of thousands of games against itself, and tries to figure out how to play the game with as little human interaction telling it how to play as possible. Now, because StarCraft is so complicated, that was especially difficult with things like it was watching thousands of games of humans play where they would leave the game before they lost all their buildings. The win condition in StarCraft is you lose all your buildings, but people would always leave before that, so it couldn't understand what the win condition was. So they had to put in all these little like rewards to say, okay, well you need to actually try to eliminate your opponent, because early on as well, it basically it would often they tried to make it not cheese, I think it was, or something like that.
People are stubborn enough to sort.
Well, basically, I remember them saying at one point it had figured out how to worker rush, so it just worker rushed every game. So then they tried to, it just wasn't learning. It just kept worker rushing, and that's all it did. So they tried to make it play longer games, and it got rewarded for that. But then it got to the point where it would just like try to float buildings to the corners and stuff to delay. Specifically because it was counting it as a partial win if it survived longer. So it was just like there was all these weird things they ran into where it kept getting confused. There's also things in StarCraft like if you see an invisible unit and you don't have detection, you can see a blur. If your camera happens to be there at that moment, you will see a blur. In the early iterations of AlphaStar, they're like, well, it basically analyzes the actual data of the game. It's not looking at a screen. That was too complicated to program and stuff, and too hard to do. So the problem is, even if it sees a blur, it would automatically know there's an invisible unit there and react. So anytime they couldn't figure out how to do invisible units. I don't know if they ever fixed that or found a way around that. I think they made it so to fix it, they just said, okay, it never sees an invisible unit, even if its screen is there. It can only see invisible units, basically it can only figure it out once the invisible units start attacking it or if it has detection, because they had to fix that up. So unlike a human who might be like, oh shit, I see some blurs walking my base, there's some DTs, quick make detection, it never does that. So yeah, that was really interesting. It's had all these weird, bizarre issues where trying to get it to play the game properly has been very hard, because it's a more complicated win condition than chess or Go. A lot of people say, oh, well, Go's so complicated. It's so much more complicated than chess because there's just more possible moves. So it's exponentially more complicated when you think of all the different permutations. And there's already millions of different moves in chess, right? There's so many, more than you could possibly comprehend as a human. Well, then you think about StarCraft, where you've got so many more unit types and the board changes. There's so many different maps. The board changes, the terrain changes. Each unit interacts in real time. It's not turn-based. It's not you move up, left, right, or down. You can move in any direction. It's times a billion times a billion times a billion more complicated to understand every possible move. So for something that is trying to learn on its own, it just could not figure out how to play StarCraft without being directed and led and given rewards for doing certain things, so it could be put, in the right path. The StarCraft's just too many permutations for it to calculate and figure out. So yeah, it's one of those things you just can't. A lot of people are like, oh, StarCraft can't be that much more complicated. People said Go was more complicated, and they figured it out in a few years and beat the best human in the world. Well, they've actually thrown in the towel and said we learnt a lot about AI. It figured out how to play this game, how to move units, how to react in all these different scenarios. It's so good tactically. It's so good at microing and managing its APM. This is amazing, guys. It figured out how to do some complex shit, but it never figured out the strategy of StarCraft in terms of scouting and reacting to its opponent. It never figured that out on a complex level. It never made it to the point of being able to beat a world champion, except here, where the world champion has a gigantic handicap. We see here it does the same generic strategy every game. It's once again that Roach Ravager timing attack I told you guys about that it does every time when it's playing Zerg. Looks like it's about to kill him. His +1 just kicked in. It does not have +1. He's got a bigger economy. If he holds on, he's got this in the bag. It tries to heal Ravagers on low hit points by morphing them into Ravagers. Great transfuse wave. Oh my god, does it actually kill him? No way. It's actually got him. Oh, it dicked him. Looks like it does beat him. Okay, I actually thought he had this. He should not have fought so far out. I think he was worried about losing his Roach Warren and getting trapped behind his wall in as well from the Biles. But he's actually going to get overwhelmed. Serral screwed the pooch. He was quite far ahead on workers as well, I think. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying too much attention. We can go back and check this VOD again, and I'll tell you what he did wrong. But as we said before, same with the other games, Serral's playing on a very unfamiliar setup where the mouse settings were total shit. We've had a bunch of people in chat right now who are watching who said, yeah, I played. I got destroyed by the AI. But, you know, the mouse settings were so bad, I just could not play. StarCraft's such a mechanical game. And obviously, you give a player, even someone as good as Serral, inferior settings, and it's going to be tough for him. So, Serral, early on, he did this Ling run by. And he sees, okay, it's just kind of building roaches. Great drone micro from it. And remember, I was talking earlier about how doing Ling backstabs much more effective against a human. AlphaStar doesn't get thrown off. So, he's going to try to get some drones. He will get one. He only gets one drone, a tiny bit of mining time, and it's so quick to go back to mining. So not really good for him because it's gone for this, this kind of two-base roach style of mass roach revenue. Now he's trying to catch up and play the standard way, which is he's worried about lair, roach speed +1. It's just going to mass roaches and go. So Serral really needs to stop at maximum 45 drones. Let's keep an eye on just how high he drones here because I do feel like, I'll skim through just a little bit, guys. So it's pushing out with Queens. He should already know it's coming. I'm not sure if we're going to get a glimpse of his third. He's got 13 drones on the natural. I think and he's supply blocked slightly. Yeah, okay, so, man, it's such a shame because I can't see its work account. Pushing out at this moment. It feels like it's done a push off maybe 35 drones this game, which is a little bit earlier. Normally it goes 40 to 50 drones, I thought. What's he seeing? The natural? Down up front. We didn't get to see the drone count. I think it's just a 2-gas. Maybe 12 drones on the natural, which would put you at about 34, 35 drones. Serral's gone up to about 45 here, I believe, which is just a bit too much of an advantage when you've already invested in Ling speed and a pack of Lings, which obviously was not effective. It's a very small map, and he shouldn't engage out here. He should have pulled back and pulled workers into the fight. Yeah, maybe cancelled the lair as well. GG, well played, AlphaStar. But yeah, it always goes for a big roach push for sure. People in chat are saying maybe it should be taught to observe a StarCraft game before it tries to play. That way it could calculate the chances of one player winning or another. Then it could have a better framework for playing. The problem was it didn't understand why people were winning. So that's what I was just talking about. They did that, and it couldn't understand why players were winning because they would GG before they'd actually lost the game, which obviously was not great. Guys, can I just say a big shout out to HJax, absolute legend for recording that. I'm just making sure. I'm going to put that in the YouTube description. It'll be down below, guys, if you want to watch that whole series. I'm going to put it in Twitch chat right now as well. There you go, guys. Big thanks, HX, for recording that, letting me cast it and talk about it. The Protoss agent looks like it was the strongest by far. In Serral's words, he said, it was a 6.3k player, but it just beat me with the first 2 adepts. Serral's about 7.1k normally, guys. So he thinks he's about 800 MMR above it. So he said it's pretty good. But yeah, he doesn't think he'd lose many games. So 800 MMR, you lose at most 1 in 10 games too. So it's definitely made it to Grandmaster. It's figured out some generic styles that will give it a fair number of wins on the ladder. But I think even a lot of high diamond and low masters players would be able to beat it if they go into it knowing how to abuse its AI. If it can be just playing ladder where its opponent doesn't know who it is, it can get right up to 6k, 6.3k MMR for sure. So it's made it into the top couple of hundred players, which is impressive. The unimpressive thing is it doesn't react too much. All it's done is figure out some cool, solid styles. It's Protoss stuff we can't learn too much from because its ability to kind of calmly split its actions seems to be the real strength there. Its ability to use an army composition with like 6 spellcasters in it without panicking like a human does. Also really powerful. So well played, AlphaStar. GG, Serral. I think it's still a shame we didn't get the show match. It seems like they're ending development on this, Deepmind, as far as I can tell, which is sad. So I have low hopes for us ever getting an AI being able to beat Serral. What does this tell us, guys? I know it's weird to say this after we just watched Serral lose to it. AI has not been able to defeat StarCraft. Humans are still superior at the ever so complex strategy game that is StarCraft. Humans are still king for now. For now. Hopefully someone else steps up and destroys us, but for now, yeah. I say humans. The best humans. Only the best. But yeah, in terms of strategic thinking, reacting, and adapting, humans still have a lot more range to how they can play, how they can conceptualize. They still have broad intelligence. The narrow intelligence of just calculating win percentage through billions of reps of permutations and all that shit and however it works, which is beyond my full understanding. I can just vaguely comprehend it. It's not there yet. It hasn't been able to achieve any broad intelligence. I think we're a very long way away from singularity and all that sort of shit and self-aware AI and it passing the Turing test and all that sort of shit. I think it's a long way until it gets there. I think it's still really good at very specific things. And figuring out how to do them well. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. AI is going to keep evolving. And hopefully they'll stop showing us random drama and depressing shit and people arguing about politics on our social media feeds. Until then, I'm probably not going to look too much at social media. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Don't forget to support the Patreon if you've been enjoying the content. Link is down below in the description, as is the playlist to that series of Serral vs. AlphaStar. Once again, shout out to HJax. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you all next time. Goodbye and good night.